Hi, friends. I got a chicken roll. Mm, that's good stuff. Let me just wipe this sauce off my face. Sorry about that. Anyway, this is gonna be my first rock review. So, for this review, I'm gonna be talking about the album "Disobey" by Bad Wolves. Now, Bad Wolves is a band that is a modern metal supergroup of sorts. It's comprised of former members of Devil Driver, God Forbid, Divine Hearsay, In This Moment, as well as Bury Your Dead. And they kind of fuse like this new metal aggression with like these towering vocal melodies that on paper sounds like it would be really good. And they did put out a pretty awesome single recently. It was a cover of Zombie by the Cranberries. They kind of gave it like this metal twist to it. And because of the change in lyrics and how great the track sounded, it actually charted at number 1 for a while, which is like rare nowadays for a metal track. I mean, it has these like lush pianos that sound so beautiful, these soaring vocal melodies, this like aggressive guitar on the chorus that just adds so much energy to it. Even my mother, who really dislikes anything that's metal, loved this track. She's a huge fan of the Cranberries, but even she said like this was a great take on the song. Considering everything political that's going on now, it seems to make sense to do a protest song and as a rock cover. So they come out with this album Disobey, and everyone's super excited about this because of how great this cover was. But to me at least, this was kind of a letdown. Now, don't get me wrong, there's tracks on here I did really like. I enjoyed Remember When, as well as Hear Me Now, and also their cover Zombies, as I said before. But these tracks have such a pop sound to them. I think with how their lead vocalist sings, it's actually something really great for them. It's kind of a big strength considering rock isn't the most popular genre right now. However, they definitely are kind of ripping off some bands with these sounds. Breaking Benjamin kind of comes to mind, especially with the song Remember When. Though I do really like the lyrical content of Remember When, how it's kind of like reminiscing on the past, and they feel very cynical now. It seemed like a really good topic for a rock song, and they did it justice. They did it pretty well. I think it's well written, well produced, but there's so many songs in this album that are mixed so bad. There's so many where the drums and guitar are just mixed horribly. Like it sounds off. Not like rhythmically per se, but for some reason the style of the guitar riff or like whatever rhythm it's at sounds really off from the drum patterns. Like I feel like they could have just played it better, whatever it is, or just wrote something better. The biggest example of that is Officer Down, honestly, and this is the first track, so like already I really wasn't feeling this album just because of how much of a mess this song sounded. And even at some parts with this song as well as other tracks, like the vocal melodies sound like they just don't fit with the style of the instrumental. I think it's cool when a lot of bands will have very aggressive rock instrumentals with soaring vocal melodies, but the way it's combined here just seems kind of chaotic and out of place. And not chaotic in a good way, like how some rock records tend to be. There's just a lot that are a mess. Like Run for Your Life, just I still don't know what's going on in that song. There's so many sounds going on at once, and I'm just like, none of these complement each other at all. Especially Toast to the Ghost. There's this like weird bassy sound on the intro of it that is kind of disgusting. Didn't really complement any other part of the track. Didn't really serve as a good intro, to be honest. So yeah, I mean, while there are tracks here that I really like, a lot of them tend to be the more pop ones where they are ripping off bands, kind of like Breaking Benjamin a little bit. I think the only example here where they're doing something more hardcore than your typical rock song that tends to chart really well within the pop community is Learn to Live, where it does have like this very fast guitar riff with these very aggressive vocals. I think that the lyrical content, again, with this one is excellent. I think it's probably their second best written song beside Remember When, and their changes to their cover of Zombie to make it more modern. I thought that was an excellent choice in covering the song. But yeah, with Learn to Live, I mean, the guitar riff and the speed of the vocals adds up to like this really hyper aggressive track, and it sounds amazing. I just wish that more of these songs were coherent the way this one is. I feel like there's too many here that are just a mess, either because of the instrumental writing, the way the vocals sound with it, or even just the way that it's all mixed together. I mean, there's parts that are really loud that shouldn't be, and it takes away from really good things about these tracks. So why I didn't really like this album all too much, beside those few tracks I mentioned that I did enjoy. I am kind of excited to hear what Bad Wolves does in the future. I think because they're from so many different bands and so many different styles, they really just need to practice more to like find what their sound is, and what chemistry they have with each other. I think after doing that, they'll come together with a really solid record, but this is just not really it, in my opinion, as the show is titled. So, I give this album 3 booties, big bodacious booties out of 5, because that's how we do it on the show, and because booty is universal. Everyone loves it. So please subscribe for more rock album reviews or whatever.